Hi there, Alfredo here. Welcome to part 4 of this short video series about projects, manufacturing and warehouse management system. In this video, we are going to use warehouse management features to pick an item for a project. In the previous videos, we learned how to use the planning engine to plan for items that are assigned to a project. We created the item, we created a production order, we also used warehouse picks and put away to pick components and put away the item. And now it's time to pick this item to fulfill this project, essentially. So let's double check what we got here. This is the item that we have just produced. And if I check the bin content, you can see one item, one piece of this item, which is in bin ending 0001. This is where the item is supposed to be. It's its storage location. This is not the place from where the item is going to be used in a project, right? Because that bin correctly shows here 0006. This is, once again, let me just show you. This is the bin which is assigned to the to project bin, which is a place from where the item is going to essentially be consumed. And as I said in my previous videos, more complexity does not mean we need to work harder. Quite the opposite. You can see with so much complexity, there is so much automation, that all I need to do now is to tell the system, then it's now time to create a warehouse pick. I don't even have to worry about telling the system, telling Business Central that I need to pick that particular item, because Business Central will find the item or items that needs to be picked. And if I have more items that I need to pick in this project, everything will flow to this pick, essentially. So pick number 5 has been created. Let's find it under related, more options, related, warehouse picks and movements. And of course, I only have one item to pick. And this is it. Now, there is also an alternative to do that. It's easy to do it from a project, but I can also use the pick worksheet and create consolidated picks. I can, in theory, have more than one project and multiple projects that I need to fulfill through warehouse movements. And I can have multiple projects going on at the same time. And I create one or more picks for everything that needs to go out on a certain date for all the projects that I have, that I'm managing as a project manager. So, same concept, one click, get everything into one document. In this case, it's very simple. I'm picking this item as 210 from where it is now to where it is supposed to be. And once I register the pick, the item now is registered. And what I get, if I look at the project planning lines, my item now can be transferred to the journal because it's been completely picked. If I check the bin code here, you can see the item now is in my bin 06. I can go and create the project journal. There are a number of ways to do that. I can open a journal. I can create project journal lines, which is the probably the quickest way to do that. And you can see the project planning line was successfully transferred to a project journal. Now, from here, I can also see related. Let me see the project journals, open project journal. And there we go. This is my item. And you can see the bin code has been updated for me automatically. This level of complexity that scares most users and sometimes even consultants is a level of complexity that does the opposite of complexity. It makes my life easy because the system is doing pretty much my job. You can say I'm just telling the system that it's time to create a pick, it's time to create a journal, and I get everything down for me. And once we are happy to get this item, journaled. Essentially, this is the equivalent of a shipment, right? The inventory is being expensed against this project. And if I go back to my project now, you can see the actual cost has been updated. The actual cost is because I have a project ledger entry of type usage, and essentially I have consumed my item. An item has now left the inventory. Okay. And if I click here, that's what I wanted to click. There we go. You can see my warehouse entry, but most important, my item ledger entry. It shows as a negative adjustment, but because it's linked to a project, essentially, right? It is a project expense. And here we have all the entries in terms of inventory expense, a work in progress. But again, the accounting side of what we're doing here is quite complex, and it's not something that we're going to discuss today. As a project manager now, I just need to, you can see I have the costs here, but billable shows with an amount, and the invoice total is 0. If I look at the project planning lines, now the system will tell me that it's now time to bill this client. I have fields that don't show by default, unfortunately. And so cost posted, and now quantity invoiced shows 0. There we go. As a project manager, now I can immediately see that my team has consumed and shipped the items, so I have incurred the costs, but I have not invoiced it, which means now I can create a sales invoice. There we go. And from here, if I look at the sales invoices, there we go. I can see a project sales invoice that, yes, it shows the item once again. This is not to be confused with a traditional sales invoice, because essentially we have the billing part and the consumption and the costs that in a project are separate. I could have billed the client for this item before I consume the item. And in that case, the system would have accrued revenues in work in progress and costs. Again, it's fairly complex, but all things that once configured and set up correctly, just run in and we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to post the invoice, and I could have used post and send to send this invoice to my client. I don't need to see it because now quantity invoiced shows 1. And I can also click here to actually see the posted invoice. And now we have essentially completed the cycle. You can see that actual cost of the item, 1,950, the item used, consumed. And here I also have invoiced item 2,400. It's another ledger entry linked to the same item. One is for the usage, therefore the costs. Another is for the sales, therefore it's for the revenue. The next thing I can do now is to look at web, work in progress, posting work in progress to the general ledger, but that's something for another video when eventually I'll make a video about project accounting in Business Central, which is also very complex. So this ends this short video series. Well, hopefully I managed to explain to you how projects and manufacturing and warehouse management, they all work very well together. And even if we use rather complex scenarios, by having this complexity translated into setup and configuration in Business Central, you can manage complex processes without actually having to work too hard, because the system does most of the job for you. I hope you find it interesting. If you want to know more about Business Central, please reach out, leave me a comment. Have a nice day.